Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Live on Purpose Radio. This is Dr. Paul. Today at Live on Purpose Radio, I've got a great guest with me. I'd like everybody to welcome Kyle Johnson. Welcome, Kyle.
Thank you so much. It's good to be here as always.
Tell us a little bit more about you and your story. What's going on?
Me and my story, name's Kyle Johnson, and my lifestyle has always been snowboarding. Snowboarding has always been my passion, and I was able to make a career out of it. In the summertime, I got to keep in shape of like how a snowboard works and kind of feel that edge and kind of get that high, if you will. Mm-hmm. And so I would skateboard, longboard, and do those type of activities all the time. And so one day I was just longboarding with a friend, and this is a hill right up the road from my neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And if you're not familiar with what longboarding is, what it is just it's a skateboard on steroids, is what I say.
It's a big, long skateboard.
Exactly, and it's just meant for cruising. I mean, you don't really do tricks on it necessarily.
Right.
You just kind of cruise to point A to point B type of thing.
Yeah.
And so right in my neighborhood, just went off on a whim, and on that day, June 2nd, 2010, I ended up crashing on my longboard. Oh. It happens. But this time, it just so happened that I landed on the back of my head, fractured my skull in 25 to 30 pieces.
Ooh.
Pretty serious. I mean, I was pretty messed up. I was given a 95% chance of death, and on the 5% chance of me living, I was pretty much guaranteed I'd have some serious issues for the rest of my life.
Wow.
I know. It was just a crazy thing. They actually froze my skull. They took 80% of my skull out and put it in a freezer because my brain swelled about 4.5 times its normal size.
Whoa, Kyle, this is serious stuff.
It's pretty gnarly.
Right, but no memory of it whatsoever.
No memory, none whatsoever.
Which is merciful, I think.
I know, yeah, well.
Wow, so seriously injured.
Yeah.
In this accident.
And so...
A helmet?
And that's the unfortunate part.
Mm-hmm.
Even skateboarding, longboarding, biking, I always put a helmet on. For me, that's just a metaphor of life, in my opinion, of just making those one-time mistakes and thinking it doesn't make a difference.
This one time won't matter.
Guess what? I know it.
Yeah.
And so, here I sit in a coma for 3.5 weeks, and just the doctors were just keeping a close eye on me, thinking, he's gonna pass away any day now, type of thing. My parents had braced for impact, so to speak, and understanding this was probably going to be a reality. But miraculously, I just woke up. And doctors are just, holy cow. And through the traumatic brain injury, this is the bummer part. I've had to relearn how to walk, talk, read, write, and everything else in between. Turning on a light bulb, that was a foreign object. I knew what a light was, but actually how to do it.
How to operate the darn thing.
Didn't make sense to me. I was like, okay.
Isn't that crazy?
I know. The things that really are important in life. For me, prior to my accident, it was, it's just snowboarding, girls type of stuff, just going through the flow of the normal 25-year-old. But then realizing, literally you're given a second chance here. 95% chance of death was very optimistic. And so, when you're given a second chance, you got to make something of it. And it's kind of a call out for other people, I hope, of realizing not everyone gets second chances. And it's something that I kind of feel bad about because I didn't live my life to the fullest until I was about 25 years old. I'm just a guy from Layton. Of no significant value. I mean, I have a family, but it's a normal family. And though my accident and like the surgery is very unique, it still didn't change who I was. And it was a matter of me saying, and coordinating with other people. I can't say I take credit for it, but coordinating with other people, obviously, of saying, you should make something out of this. Something we could probably talk about is my doctor. He pulled me aside like a week after my last surgery, and we were walking down the hallway. He said, "Kyle, there's no way we should be walking together right now. In all reality, we should be walking to your grave. You have a reason to be here. Your job now is to figure out what that reason is. I'm not unique. Everyone has a reason to be here." And so, that's kind of where I really started. Not knowing, how to read or write or anything else, I had to start within. And understanding, okay, who am I? What makes me me? And what makes me different from everyone else? And I think that's an important thing to acknowledge as well, is making yourself your own individual. Sometimes we all follow under this, little box of what society says we're supposed to be. Society says 95% chance of death. Let's get out of that. Let's be that 5% possibly. Let's make something of ourselves and say, okay, I am different, and I'm not going to be a part of the trend. Helmets are a very common thing as well. Of okay, it's not trendy to wear a helmet. People get nervous to wear a helmet because they'll be made fun of. Guess what? That's life.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's really the key, is you want to stand out. You don't want to just stand with everyone. You want to stand out. And the kid that wears a helmet at a skate park, he definitely stands out. But I can guarantee you this, at the skate park, he does a lot more tricks than anyone else. It's a matter of somewhat being a part of society, but realizing you are your own person.
What have you discovered about your purpose? And what is it that you really want people to know?
I think purpose is to play off your P's. It's also passion. Figuring out, okay, I think purpose and passion got to go together.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you're going to live your purpose, so to speak, it's going to be your passion. You're not going to hate the purpose. For me, I've always had a passion for speaking. It's just a unique situation that I was kind of fell into this, literally. And so just being able to as I come home and I start receiving phone calls from media saying, hey, we're interested in you being on this TV show, talk about what happened and all that stuff, it really kind of served as a springboard for me to get going in certain things. You don't have to be this, come from wealth or have this great invention or anything like that. It's just, you just kind of follow kind of your gut and say, okay, what am I passionate about? And then live for that passion.
Kyle, you had this perfect opportunity to become, I call it a victim. Okay? And I understand you were a victim of an accident, but when I say victim, I mean a victim way of looking at the world. Okay? A victim mindset, a victim paradigm. And I think you've heard me talk about that before. You had this perfect opportunity to blame this accident for where you were. You didn't have to do anything. And you chose something else. In fact, you've got a little phrase for that.
Right. Don't get bitter, get better.
Don't get bitter, get better.
Right.
Is it a choice?
Oh, no. Of course it is. I mean, does the sun rise? It always does. And so, it is a choice. In my opinion, you really have three choices. You can get bitter, you can get better, or you can just do nothing.
And I've noticed the default is always downhill, isn't it?
Right.
So either you are applying, and I love the way you said this, you've got to work for it. You go after it, you do what is required, and you had to work hard for what you've got now, didn't you?
Tons. It was frustrating.
Speaking English?
No, that's a waste of time.
Walking? So you had to put the work in for it. The work is what elevates. Notice it always requires energy to elevate.
Exactly.
Right? You take away the energy, it doesn't just stay there, it rolls downhill. If you're not putting in the effort in your life, where's it going to go?
And, I didn't do it alone. I had the support of obviously
good point.
I had the support of my doctor. He was saying, there's a reason you're here. And that was kind of the seed. And then from there, it was me thinking a lot, okay, what am I supposed to be doing? Why am I here?
And that's the point that I want to make also for our listeners, that whatever your story is, you can apply those same principles and, as we say here on the show, live on purpose. What are your thoughts about that, Kyle, as we wrap up today?
I think you're hitting it just right on the head. Realizing that in dark times, the light always comes.
Yeah.
It always does. And, I think a lot of people, me included, you included, we all have dark days.
For sure.
And I think a big plug of spreading light or getting light is to give light.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a way to be a hero to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, people, I really take people's, you know, their faces, and I engrave them in my heart, because I know that everyone can light up someone else's dark day.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a cool thing. And that's when it gets really just, okay, I am somebody, and I did just make a difference. Even though it was just one person. But I'm not going to stop there. I'm going to do the same thing tomorrow, the next day, and just make it grow, and to give back to others, because I've been given much.
To get people in touch with you, share your website with us verbally.
It's KyleJohnsonInternational.com.
Kyle Johnson, spelled just like you'd expect it.
S-O-N.
S-O-N, that's
There it
probably
is.
the only thing that might
Yep.
get in the way. Kyle Johnson International.com.
Perfect.
Kyle, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
You've got an inspiring story. Keep spreading the light. Everybody, go out there and live on purpose.